So today we're going to be designing the saddlebags that I want to build for the bike. So these bags are going to have two primary purposes. One, to carry the Honda tool set that came with the bike, as well as some other small tools. And two, be able to carry the user manual or the service manual for the bike, such that if I ever need to stop for something, I have the user manual and all the needed tools to kind of maintain temporarily the bike just to get it home. So the bags will be, as you would imagine, right where the side covers are. And for that, we're going to be doing something that essentially covers the whole space here, but also is able to fit whatever I need. So technically this triangular shape that we see here, this thing here, may not be a good enough shape for me to store the items that I need. So I did some measurements on the bike, and the kind of the desired shape that I am going to go for is something that kind of looks like so. And I have that. So I'll obviously make it kind of probably sit right under there, like so, and have two kind of flat bits here, and then it kind of curves inwards and it has the bottom where we could probably round that off, but essentially it ends just above that and curves with the frame right there. The reason for that is that I need the user manual to fit in there, and the manual is actually about yay big if you were to kind of put it against that space. So this is kind of like what I'm going to go for, and in terms of design, I was thinking to do kind of a single flap opening like so, and then perhaps do either single strap, and that will have a buckle there, so some sort of buckle like so that hooks into something else that sits here, right? So something like that, or do a double buckle, so similar thing but two smaller ones like so, which now that I look at it, I think two smaller ones might actually look a lot better. Something like that. Yeah, so that's kind of the idea. In terms of the bag's kind of shape and size, after I measured it, I believe what we're going to end up with is, so let's hide the background. So this is the bag. Actually, you know what, let's just add a white background here. Just so it's easier to see things. I'll call this like that. So when I measured it out, this comes to be something like 30, come on, here's the brush, 38 centimeters on top. These little flat bits here, so from here to here, kind of this little bit, same with this side. They're both 10 centimeters. And this one is this bit here. in terms of the shape, the bottom, this bit is 25 centimeters, and there's a slight difference between from here to here, that distance and this distance. So the front is actually 20 centimeters and the back is 25. So the bag is kind of asymmetric a little bit. The reason for that is that if we look at the bike, well, this picture kind of doesn't show it very well, but technically, let's use some red here. So technically this horizontal line up here is actually not straight. This is more actually this way. So the entire bag is actually leaning forward a little bit. So it's kind of like that, more or less. So in order for the bottom to be leveled, I need this side to be shorter and this side to be longer. So that's kind of what we're going to go with. 25, where's the, yeah, so something like that. Now for a bag like this, in terms of the shape of the bag, what we're going to need is to design a template that now has the back side of the bag and the front side. So we're looking at something that kind of looks like this. So that's the back side. And since it's a bag, I'm actually going to make this and the bottom bag and the bottom, the side, and the back and the front of the bag one piece that just folds over. So that means the bottom of the bag is actually part of this piece. And then we have the exact same thing but mirrored on the other side. So like that, 10 centimeters on top, and like that. So kind of this hourglass shape. And this bit here is essentially the depth of the bag. And based on kind of my measurements, I believe that I only need about 5 centimeters for that. And this is kind of the sides. So this kind of folds over this way to become the bag. Now to fill in the space between this side here and this side here, these are not going to be sewed into each other because there's this 5 centimeter gap here. So we need a piece that will essentially follow along the edge here. So a piece that kind of goes up like that and up to here, and connects the two sides. Now these are obviously going to be kind of straight as the bag is built. So those pieces are based on the measurements that we have here. We have essentially the one side being the 5 centimeters, and then the height being this distance here plus this distance here, right? So we have those from on one side it's going to be 25 plus 10, so 35. So the thing on one side would be, we can assume just a straight piece that is 5 centimeters by 35. And for the other side, it's going to be essentially the same thing, but 5 centimeters shorter. So something that's 5 centimeters shorter. These are obviously nice rectangles. And that's 30. So that will kind of get us the main body of the bag. Then we need the flap for the top, as well as the straps for the buckles. So the flap for the top, we know the front side of it. That's going to look like 10 centimeters on here, 10 centimeters on here. The kind of inclined bit like so. We're going to try to make that more or less symmetrical. So we'll get those measurements proper. So that's kind of the front part of it that we see. But then there's the folded over part, so the part that covers the middle of the bag. So we know that the middle, the hole in the bag is 5 centimeters plus the thickness of the leather. So this fold on top has to be slightly larger. So since I'm using 4 to 5 ounce leather, that means roughly about 3 millimeters. So adding that up, so yeah, about 8 ounce, so about 3 millimeters. So let's make that, give that an extra little bit of space. So call that a 6 centimeter piece here. So that's from here to here. And then on the back side, where the bag actually, where the lid actually gets sewn onto this piece here, so something like that, we're going to have an extra overlap of, let's say, about half of that. So getting another 5 centimeters of that height. So we have another 5 centimeters here. There we go, 5 centimeters. So that's kind of what the shape of the lid would be, and then this again would be 38 centimeters. This is 5 centimeters. This is 10 centimeters. So this is obviously not to scale. And the height of this, so this distance here is obviously more than 10. I'm going to experiment and say, let's say that's 15 centimeters. And this is going to be symmetrical, so the distance from here to here and from here to here, let's say that's the same. And this is whatever, this is the remainder. So let's say we have 38, so if we were to do 3 equal parts, that'd be kind of hard. So if it was 3 equal parts, that would make it 12. So let's make this 12 centimeters, 12 centimeters. And since it's not equal, this will be 14. There we go. So that's our lid. And now we need the main straps at the front. So for those, I think we're gonna go with, so we need the kind of the main strap, and we need 2 of those. So I'm gonna do a nice English point tips, something like that. It's gonna have holes on it. So let's say that total length for this guy, not too much. So if that, let's say that kind of lines up with here, we can assume then that that's at least 5 centimeters long. So with the overlap, let's say that these are 10 centimeters. So they hang off about 5 centimeters. So if this is 15, we have 10. Yeah, that should be pretty good. So roughly 10, and in terms of width, we have a pretty wide bag, so let's make them a nice, I don't know, what's this? Let's make them a nice 2 centimeter width. This is 2 centimeters. And we need 2 times this. other end of the strap, which is the where the buckle would be attached. For that, it's a strap that kind of looks like so. So it's a straight strap, but because it gets folded over on itself and there's this like oblong hole here, kind of like a belt, where the buckle would sit, we end up having this sort of thing. Alright, so for that, let's say, let's make things symmetrical. So really the part that's going to be visible, so what we see here, kind of from here to here, that's let's say about 5 centimeters. So with the overlap, let's say that this is another 3 or so. So this hole is usually 2 centimeters wide. So if that's halfway, that's a centimeter and a half, and another centimeter and a half. Let's make this a little longer. So maybe 4 centimeters. So call this 4 centimeters, and this 5 centimeters. And then width, of course, has to be the same. It's 2 centimeters. And again, we need 2 times this. Okay, so that covers those ones. Now, the other piece that I didn't draw is how we're going to attach this to the bike. So, move this. If you look at the bike, just create a folder for all these guys. Come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Buckles, leave that outside. Okay, so if the bag is like that, we still need a way to attach it. So up above, there is the frame that I can wrap straps around. So that is going to leave a strap right around here, and another one right around here. On the side, we will need at least one as well. So let's say there's a strap on this side, like so, or perhaps 2 straps, just to make sure this thing doesn't shake around. And then for consistency, let's put 2 on this side on the frame as well. I have to double check on the bike whether or not there's space for these. So on these straps, the way that they're going to be attached on the back is, again, with buckles, but now they're going to be kind of on the back of the bag. So if we were to look at this from behind, what we would see is actually, let's call this back of bag. So the back of the bag, again, kind of same sort of idea, except when you're looking at it from the back, this side is the short side and this side is the long side. So this is the 20 centimeters and this is the 25 centimeters. This is 38 centimeters, 25 centimeters, 10, 10. And then on the back, you would see the lid. Like we said, it's 5 centimeters. So about halfway through this flat space, you have the lid like this. Come on. Lid like that. So now on the back, we need those straps. The big difference here is that I think we're going to make them like belts and then just sew them on. so they're actually one piece. Unlike the bag lid where it needs to unattach and open, the ones on the back don't need to do that. So what I'm thinking is have them kind of like, I'm terrible at using this digital drawing thing. Have them a little bit like this. So they're actually sewn on right here. And they have a buckle that hangs around here. So this essentially wraps down like that around whatever bar we have. And similarly, we're going to have one that's here, one that's here. Same, let's one on this side, one on this side, and a second one on the top side. So boom. These are all gonna have, because they're only gonna be attached in like these single points here, 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 and here. If the buckles overlap, that's okay, because they're not actually going to overlap, because they're going to get looped around whatever we're attaching it to. So I'm thinking these all should be kind of the same size. The bike's frame, I believe, is I want to say about an inch or 3/4 of an inch thick. So these things need to wrap around at 3/4 of an inch. So let's say that they will look something like, let's create another layer here. So let's use the red. Okay, so those will look like, kind of proper tip. They're going to be longer than the other ones. I'm going to have that oblong hole here where the buckle will go, and we have hole on the other end. So we're going to need 6 of these. So 6 of these. And let's say for length, we're going to go with we need roughly about 12 centimeters to wrap around. So let's say we need more than that in order to, one, attach it to the bag, but also have that freedom to now move it around and wrap it. So let's say these are, also we can't forget the fact that this technically is, the usable length is this part here. Right? That extra bit down here actually wraps under to loop in the buckle. So for that, let's say if we need a usable 15 centimeters, so this 15 centimeters, and let's say these straps are going to be thinner than the main ones, just to kind of differentiate them. Let's make these 1.5 centimeters. 1.5 centimeters. This would essentially, again, what are we making on the other one? 4 centimeters. So yeah, let's keep that as 4 centimeters. So we have a total of 19 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters, 6 times to create the straps. And so that's kind of the basic template for the bag. Now, I have tools that I want to put in there. I don't want to leave those to just jiggle about in there. What I want to do is I want to create some specialized tool holders on the inside of the bag. So for example, if this is the inside of the bag, we can have kind of a strap that runs across where you can put, you know, let's say the 10 millimeter key, like so, right? So there's like a strap like that that has sewn in here, sewn in here. You have a screwdriver or whatever, right? An Allen key. So on and so forth, right? So I want to create some straps like that in there. So for that, I'm going to need to take the kind of inventory of tools that I have that need to go in there, and then start designing the straps for those. But for the time being, we have the main bag kind of stats. So let's draw these to scale, and then we're gonna start cutting them out. So I cut out the main two pieces for the template for the saddlebag out of some wrapping paper because it makes pretty good templating paper. Let's get a little bit up here. It makes a pretty good templating material if you don't crumple it, that is. And I just wanted to show you kind of what the idea is. So this piece is essentially the bag, and it will fold over like so. So then you have the bag shape, and then this is the lid. So on one side, you'll get sewn on like so. So this is what kind of you would see from one side. Yeah. Just this part, this 5 centimeters kind of on there like this. And from the other side, you're actually going to be seeing the lid portion of it, which is this. So that's kind of the whole size of the bag. So before we start cutting any more, let's go down to the bike and see how this fits in terms of dimensions. I did do it slightly differently from what I originally designed. It's actually symmetrical, so it's the same size on this side and on this side. So let's see how that fits on the bike and whether or not we need to make some modifications in our template. Alright, so we have our template here, and if we were to kind of temporarily assemble it, like so, the saddlebag ends up being about this big, which is perfect because I really don't like when people make saddlebags that are like this short or like this wide. So this is actually good, and the 5 centimeters width actually ends up covering up this a little bit, coming in line with the engine block, and should be pretty good actually in terms of look. So yeah, this size works out pretty great. Alright guys, so now that we have the template kind of figured out, we're going to continue to cut out the pieces in the next episode from leather and start the process of dyeing the leather and processing it so that we can start building the final pieces for the saddlebags. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications when new videos become available. Check me out at balkanmoto.com as well as on Instagram at balkanmoto2018, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.